Hello, welcome back. A lot of people have asked how I polished my stock, and I did it a couple of weeks ago after getting the gun, and I'll tell you how I did do it. It came up reasonably shiny, and I'm quite happy with it. So the gun is an ASE Gold, and it's at least 16 years old because they stopped manufacturing them in 2005. And it had a lacquer finish. Lacquer is shellac dissolved in alcohol, and it's quite volatile, and you can brush it on and it shouldn't show many marks, but lacquer is harder to use, and I didn't use lacquer. And so the first thing you've got to do when you want to repolish the stock on any gun is you've got to take out the butt plate, and then with a screwdriver you just put the screws in there, and 1 and 2, and take off the butt plate. Then you've got a big hole in there, and using one of these keys that will have come with your gun, you put that in there and turn it, and then the stock will pull apart from the receiver. Okay, then if you've got an adjustable stock, you've got to just unscrew the cheek piece, this top piece, and you've got to do that separately. Now you've got to do a lot of taping up. I've done one for you to show you. You tape up all the checkering, and I cut little pieces of tape and just went along all the checkering there. I haven't done that one because I didn't need to. I just did that piece to show you what I did. So I would have to do that checkering, and then I would have to tape up where the adjustable stock mechanism is, because I wouldn't want to put polish on that. So then you have to do the same with your forend. Where the checkering is, you don't want that lacquered, so you cover that with tape, and then the rest will be shiny, but this will just have an oil finish, and you can just use normal oil furniture polish to just give that a nice oil finish. And it's not shiny, but the ends certainly are, and this part certainly is, this part there. Okay, so what did I do? Well, after taping it up, and wait a minute. The first thing I did, it didn't work out for me. So what I used was True Oil. Now I know what I did wrong, so I'll tell you if you want to use True Oil. And this is and you get a good finish with this, but I made the mistake that I didn't thin down the True Oil, and I painted it on, and when it dried you could see the brush marks. So you've got to really thin it down so it soaks into the wood, and you would have to add quite a few coats of True Oil. Then if you don't want too much of a sheen, once it's all finished and dried, you can rub it with the Stock Sheen conditioner, and it gives you a satin finish, because the True Oil will give you a really big sheen. But you've got to thin it down, otherwise it's really, really hard to use. And it comes with sandpaper and everything else. So you've got, mine was lacquered, but it was old, and the grain wasn't coming through. It just looked black. So I sanded it all down with 400 grain sandpaper, 800 grit sandpaper, 1200 grit sandpaper. So first 4, 8, 12. And if you want to, you can even go to 2000 and rub it down. So once this was all rubbed down, and it was just the wood there because I'd taken everything off, I stuck a screwdriver in the ground, and then in the hole in there, in the stock, I rested the stock on top of the screwdriver that was stuck in the ground. So this was standing up nicely. And this is what I used to do my stock. I just used a spray can of marine grade exterior clear varnish. And some people use 2-pack, but 2-pack chips, and whereas varnish, I think I'm happy with my varnish finish, and it's much easier to use than lacquer. But by all means, try lacquer if you know what you're doing, and thin it down, the lacquer. And because the beauty of using lacquer is you can put it on, and 15-20 minutes later it's dry, and you can sand and give it another coat. But with lacquer, you've got to know what you're doing, and the fumes are really strong because it's solvent based. Just varnish is a piece of cake, because I just sprayed it and I didn't put a lot on. I just went up, down on each side twice, and I'm happy with the finish on it. I'm very happy with the finish on it. And so when I had to do my forend, I just set this on the ground, on the lawn, rested that on top and sprayed it. And when it was dry, I just gave it a quick run along the top lip. And same as this cheek piece, that was off, so I just rested it on top of the cap and gave it a quick spray. So that's really what I used to achieve the polish on my, but I think you'll agree it's come up pretty well. And that is with varnish. The time is in sanding and taping up, because you've got to tape everything up. And then once it's dry, you take the tape off. Once it's dry, you take the tape off, and you can just, this part here, you can just give it, you can just rub it with the oil, just rub it with the oil, just give it an oil finish. And there it is. And then we're back to square one after you've taken off all your thing. So that's basically what I did to my stock. I just used the marine grade exterior clear varnish, just sprayed it on, not a lot, didn't put a lot on. And if you want to, you can wait the next day, sand it down with 1200 and give it another coat, a very light coat. So there it is. That's what I did, and I think the wood grain came out really quite good, and I'm quite happy with that. There it is. There it is, if you want to know. All right. Thank you for watching. If that was useful, go like. Thank you for subscribing. It costs you nothing if you subscribe, and you get notified of future videos. Thank you for watching. Stay well, and I'll see you next time.